Hi, and welcome to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, of course joined by my amazing co-host, Judy Loge.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Have a Chat. We love being with you. Love being with you too, Veronique.
I know. It's Monday again, and here we are.
Yeah, waiting for some flurries on this lovely sunny day so far, but they're coming.
Don't talk about it. I can't. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But we're going to kick off the show with an amazing quote.
Okay, I like this quote. It's been resonating for a few reasons recently with me on a lot of different notes. Okay, this is by T.S. Eliot. What we call a new beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. And I haven't really thought about that quote a whole lot.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, we always say, you know, all good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
And it's almost that dismal thought of there's not going to be any more of anything good coming after that. But actually, when you look at this, it's when things start to renew or a new chapter begins, or when you put something to bed and move forward in a really positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. And they often say, like, if, you know, in order to start something, you have to let go of something.
Yes.
Right? And so, and that's the other thing, right? It can be really scary. And it can be really overwhelming to say, you know, okay, we're done with that. But it's also the opportunity to start something else.
Right, doesn't have to be sad.
No.
It can be like when you do something for a long, long time. It's like, you know, they say all good things must come to an end. And what they mean in that respect is a marriage. Say a couple's been married for 64 years.
Yeah.
Well, one person has to pass, right?
Yeah.
And so all good things, if that marriage was beautiful, does end. But again, the journey for that person that's left behind could mean more travel with companions or more,
Who knows?
you know, time for themselves, whatever.
Who knows? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and actually we'll talk a little bit about what's been exciting over the last little while. So you know, a week ago Monday, we had elections in New Brunswick, and it's an exciting time for everybody. And you know, I love the fact that we have that opportunity to get out and vote for whomever we see fit, right, to represent us. And for the first time in history, we have a premier designate that is a woman.
I know.
So Susan Holt is about to be our premier. So the swearing in is on Saturday, and all of the MLAs that were elected across the 49 ridings. So that's very exciting. Congratulations to all of our MLA elects across the region here in Miramichi, but of course across the province as well. And thank you to all those that did serve in the previous government. And as we move forward, we'll see what's to come.
Exactly. Let's go in there with a positive attitude. And we said it's you know, an end of one government and the beginning of another, and time for change.
Yeah, public service is not easy.
No, and she must be pretty excited. There are a lot of daunting factors facing her because it's all new.
Absolutely.
And, you know, the first time in the seat, but very challenging and very, you know, that's what she's there for, is to go after what she sees is needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
a lot of hard work ahead for all of
everybody.
the MLAs. Yeah. And then we move south of the border, and the election in the U.S. is happening next week.
November 5th.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit, it's in a deadlock right now between Harris and Trump.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's pretty hairy too. They really like to attack each other, right? It's not it's never been pretty.
No.
It's never been graceful.
No.
It's always been boom, 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 like a knockout, right?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that? Like, I haven't been really taking time to watch it down in the States. I should be, but
I haven't. I mean, it comes across my news feed quite a bit, but you know, I think I'm hopeful that the U.S. will have its first woman president. You know,
Same.
I'm hopeful. I have not made any secret of the fact that I don't feel like former President Trump should be president again. But it's not up to me to say. I don't live in the States, and and they get to make their democratic decisions. But it definitely wouldn't be where I would go, for sure, as a voter.
Well, you know how I feel.
Yeah.
And I have nothing good to say about him.
Yeah.
So when you can't say anything good, say nothing at all.
Yeah.
That's where I stand.
So and for anybody that happens to be in the States, please go out and vote. That is such a hard fought right for all of us, especially in North America, here in Canada and the U.S. It's such a way to have direct impact on your own life and the life of your neighbors. So please do get out and vote, and really thankful to all those that voted in the New Brunswick election. So
yes, and during COVID with the last election down there, people were afraid to go out. They were so terrified, of COVID, which is still happening, but not like it was. The pandemic was at the height of the worst. And so this time, there'll probably be a lot more people that are getting out of their house, that are feeling that freedom to go and vote.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. And I wish that, I think that, I don't want to generalize, but I think young people are disillusioned, with the systems and I wish that they realized their ability to truly impact elections with their vote, right? Because it's such a big demographic, and they don't necessarily always vote. And again, not generalizing, not everybody, but I really, I wish that more young people would get involved in political parties and in stepping up to city council and whatever it may be, because we need their input.
We do, and that's a really good note.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, though, you were away, but I got to MC the Pink Dress Society of Miramichi. Suit meets tie, I think. Suit and tie meets pink dress gala last weekend, and it was beautiful.
Beautiful night. Sorry I had to be away, Veronique, but I would have been there to support you and all the fabulous women, the cause, having been affected, like with friends and family themselves, having breast cancer. It's something very important to me to be there to listen and to share and to advocate for breast cancer and health of the breasts and just to support.
Yeah, and Susan Summers was the keynote speaker, and she was incredible that night to share the way she shared her story, the way that she made it so understandable for all of us in the room. It was such a powerful night. It was such a powerful night, and to see so many, the hall was full. It was at the exhibition, the Miramichi exhibition, so over 200 people attended, and they raised a wonderful amount of money. But to hear Sue talk about her journey and all that she's been through and continues to go through, she was incredible.
Not only that, she's been through so much. I have followed her and listened to her, and I know her. And through it all, she remains that positive, exuberant, kind, and putting others before herself type person. Always putting the best foot forward, her smile on, even when she's going through hell. I just have huge admiration for her.
Oh yeah, and that was the first time actually that I heard her story. So it was incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I got to co-MC with Ryan Summers.
That would be fun.
We had such a great time, and he's very good at it.
And you would be excellent at it.
We had fun, and Ryan, of course, is a fellow city councilor. I get to sit beside him and Chad Duplessis every Tuesday night, so I get to hear their humor come out in that way too.
And he's dry, and he's funny and witty. So that would be wonderful. Well, thank you for doing that on behalf of all the people in Miramichi.
No, we had a wonderful time. Yeah, really, and I had a wonderful time with the people that were at my table as well, and so it was a fun night.
I could use those nights. My life lately has been very packed with various things, from losing an exceptionally good friend, unfortunately, which I won't be emotional about now because I've had my emotional spell, losing her last week, and it's always gut-wrenching. My dad had a fall over a month ago now. He's elderly, as everyone would know, and he broke his hip and sustained a concussion, and all of that, was hospitalized for over a month. I've been dealing with that, and a lot of very heavy things have been going on in my life. So this is why being with you, Veronique, and our viewers on a Monday is a chance to talk about other things, because we all need to focus on positive things. And so on that note, I would like to say that my nephew, my brother's boy, Aiden, is turning 30 today. He's one of my favorite human beings.
Happy
he lives
birthday,
in Montreal.
Aiden.
Happy birthday, Aiden. Just got back from his honeymoon in Thailand. And had a beautiful time. And of course, my son Evan's birthday is coming up on Halloween. Love him more than words can say. He's my firstborn, and I say mine because I gave birth. Our firstborn son, and he's everything I could hope for in the way of being a kind, amazing human. And also my sister's son's birthday is on Halloween as well, and that is Trent, and he will be 17. Where's the time go?
I don't know. I don't know.
No.
It's incredible.
But I might get a chance to see Evan. He was away in Vancouver the last number of days with a conference for his cardiology, and he did a presentation, said it all went well. And my son Jansen's on his reading break, and don't laugh, he's on a reading break in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Having a great time reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, whatever. Whatever.
Go read something.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
so,
awesome.
So things are celebrate. You know, there's
Yeah.
nice things to remark on, and all these birthdays coming up, and Halloween. I don't know if that's exciting or what, but it's
Well,
coming.
I love seeing the kids. I mean, we live in the same neighborhood, so we see you get more at your house, but we see almost 200 kids at my place, and I love seeing the costumes because I think they get tired by the time they get to my street.
That's maybe it.
Yeah, I think they start up where you
Oh,
are.
let's trade homes this year. You can come to my house,
No,
and
I'm good.
I'd love to go to yours.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I think they get tired by the time they get to my place. So, but we do see almost 200 kids, which is awesome.
And we, way over 300. My mother said to me yesterday, "Do you not get exhausted when they start coming at 3 o'clock and they don't stop until 8?"
Yeah.
I said, "Mom, I've been doing this at my house for 32 years.
Yeah.
I am the witch of the neighborhood legally."
No.
They come to say, "Who's that old lady?
Oh, no.
What's she gonna look like this year?"
Yeah.
But I broke into my stash. I have never done that. I don't know if it's just because of the stress going on
Yep.
in my life lately, but I started off with one little bag of chips, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I got into the cheesies last night. 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, the salt is starting to retain.
The first year I haven't bought my stash yet. Usually I buy it like quite early and then break
I know
into
you
it
do.
over the weeks.
Yes, you
but
do.
I didn't do it this time. But my plan is to go out in the next day or two and get some.
Okay. It's expensive.
Oh.
I cannot, not that we are begrudging that, because
No.
like Gerard said, it's once a year and the kids come
Yes.
and you don't want to be cheap and tight, give them some nice treats. But when you start looking at boxes of chips that were like, what, $8
I
a few
know.
years ago, now they're 14.
I know.
It's wow.
You know what I love seeing though? I love seeing teenagers
I
come
do.
to my door because
Why not?
it's a night of fun.
That's right.
And it's that was kind of hanging on to those last moments when you get to be
I know.
a kid.
And they enjoy the treats just
Yes.
like we do as adults.
Yes.
Even if they're teenagers, they
Yes,
do.
I love it. I love seeing
Like the
it.
guy that came back twice last year. Oh, he was so cute. I said, "You were here earlier," and he thought I was dense, that I wasn't going to notice that it was him because he only had markings like a tattoo painted on or something. No mask, no headpiece, nothing.
Yeah.
No costume.
Yeah.
And I said, "You?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm back." And I said, "Well," I said, "Yeah." I said, "I recognize that." He said, "You gave out a really good treat." And I said, "So you're brave and you're bold to come back again, and because you're so honest, I'm going to give you another one."
There you go.
And I mean,
Yeah.
kudos for being upfront.
Sweet,
But I was
eh?
going to be tricked.
Yeah. Not tricked.
No,
Not tricked.
Pretty intuitive and watchful.
Yep. We've got the other thing I just want to touch on before we've got a great thing that's coming up. But so Halloween, of course, is coming up, and then Remembrance Day is coming up as well. There's so many ceremonies across the region, so please do take in one of those.
Yes.
But the Women of Influence Gala is coming up on November 16th at the Golf and Country Club at 7 p.m.
Can't wait.
Members $50 per ticket, non-members $55, but incredible women.
We always go.
I know, and I love it. You and I have both been women of influence
Yes.
at different years, but this year, the nominees, the award recipients, incredible. So the Community Impact Award, Chandra Crawford.
Perfect.
She's amazing.
Yes,
So
she is.
those that don't know Chandra, she and her mother both have that Dining with Dignity. So they do help out those who are struggling just behind the Newcastle Library. Wonderful. And they started out with Christmas dinners, but have expanded.
Incredible.
Entrepreneur of the Year, Kyla Jardine, the fairy dog mother grooming.
Ooh, shout out to my groomer,
Yes.
the fairy dog mother. How cute is
Love
that?
it.
She's amazing too.
Yeah, and she's also the president of the board of directors for the SPCA.
Love her with all my heart.
Yeah, incredible work. Young woman of influence. I don't know Madison, but I can't wait to meet her. Madison Levi. She has a really incredible connection to her Mi'kmaq heritage, but she is the first Indigenous woman in Atlantic Canada to become a certified firefighter.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I don't know her either. I can't wait to meet her myself.
Yeah, I know. I'm so looking
Good
forward
for
to that.
her.
Professional of the Year, we've had Charlene on the show. Charlene McLean. She's prevention coordinator for Miramichi Addiction and Mental Health Services.
Well deserved.
She does so much work
And it's a huge
with mental
thing,
health support.
mental health
Yeah.
and addiction.
And then last but not least, and I know Megan so well, the Woman of Influence this year, Megan Gallant.
Beautiful lady.
Oh, she's wonderful. So she has a full-time job, of course. She has 4 beautiful girls. She is a part-time spin instructor. but her efforts to really support and champion inclusivity and understanding, most particularly for those with autism, has led her to be a woman of influence.
Well, they're all fantastic women,
Yes.
and also very deserving. As I said, I just don't know Madison, but obviously she's making her way as a blooming adult and doing big things in big ways.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Beautiful.
Can't wait to go that night.
So get your tickets, and again, it's the Woman of Influence Gala at the Golf and Country Club, and it's a nice night for women to come together in harmony, celebrating other women.
Absolutely. And one other thing that's coming up, not this weekend coming up, but the next, is Susan Butler's Remembrance Dinner and Concert. So this year they are honoring the Peacekeepers.
Perfect.
Yes, I think there's very limited tickets left. So that's on November 10th, and you have to pre-purchase those tickets.
Okay, your dad will be there, obviously,
Yes,
as one person who has served in an incredible capacity all of his life.
Yeah, absolutely. So in our last 2 minutes, we're going to talk about the thing I hate the most.
What?
Daylight savings time.
Oh, I know.
Time
I know.
change.
And Evan said last night he was jet lagged already coming from Vancouver because of the 4-hour time change.
Yeah.
So he arrived in Halifax at midnight last night to go to work this morning.
Yeah.
And I said, just a reminder, you have to change the clocks again this coming weekend. He goes, I forgot about that. He said, I'll be so thrown off.
I know. And I don't like to use the word hate, so I'll say dislike. Dislike the most, or dislike intensely. I really do. It throws me off. So of course the spring is worse than the fall. The fall, at least you get to kind of, fall back in time, but I dislike it. It throws me off. They say that there's a study that there's an increase in traffic accidents the Monday after. There's an increase in heart attacks. It's a terrible
Bubble wrap, folks, bubble wrap.
We need to get rid of that.
Yeah, and I really, my words, dislike the darker hours. So it gets dark around supper time for us. We eat around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it'll be dining in the dark after next weekend.
It is dining in the dark. I dislike it so strongly. But anyway, I will stop whining. That is not the worst thing in the world, but it is terrible.
That's a big adjustment for me, as you know by now, everybody. Doing this with Veronique and I for years, that we do not sleep anyway. So when we lose that extra hour, it's give me extra coffee.
I know. And I don't drink coffee, which is a terrible thing too. But
I love it.
I know, but I understand that. But neither Dad nor I drink it. But anyway, I don't like it. I'm going to be miserable or at least discombobulated for a few days after the time change.
Call me. You're having that moment.
Yeah. I would like to sleep a bit. I'm going to try and get some sleep in the next few weeks. But
me too. I need that. I want to do some downtime, and I have a few things booked up. For we had Sandy Jardine on. I want to do the energy feeling.
We're going to come right back. So don't go too far. We have lots of show left. We'll see you right after the break. Grab a good beverage and a snack. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, joined, of course, by my wonderful co-host, Judy Loge.
And Veronique's wonderful herself. Together I'm telling you, we're just explosive.
That's right. So many of you actually probably don't know, but yesterday marked our 10th anniversary. So we first launched the show 10 years ago yesterday. And it's hard to believe it's been 10 years, but also we've decided that this is going to be our last show today. After 10 years.
There'll be someone saying, oh no. There'll be someone saying, oh yes, so great. No. But I know people that will be disappointed for sure, because this was and has been very special to many, many people I've talked to.
Yeah, and it's been really special to us, But, for me, I feel like you kind of have to go out when the getting's good. And, after 10 years and all of the work that we've done, it felt like the right time for us to end the show. And I know that absolutely I will miss my Mondays.
Me too.
With Judy and with all of our guests. So what a lot of you probably don't know. So we shoot live pretty much every Monday. So we shoot about 40-ish live shows a year, so that amounts to about 400 plus shows that we've shot over the last 10 years. And we've had close to 1,000 guests.
Incredible, really.
Yeah, and it's I have loved it. I've loved every minute of it.
Yes.
But for Judy and I, this has been a volunteer effort. And we started off with Audrey Lynch, right?
Yes.
And 10 years ago, the three of us came together, and we'll talk a little bit about that story. But, it's an entirely volunteer effort for Judy and I, and it was for Audrey as well. And Judy and I find the guests every week, and we come up with the questions and the topics and all of that kind of stuff. And we have shot some pre-tape shows as well. Some of you have seen, you've seen those. We did it with the police station and the fire station
and
last
live
year.
Events we've been to, interviewing at parks and concerts down at when the Vogue was there.
Yes.
We've had some musicians there, and there have been many spots where we showed up and it was, here's the Have a Chat girls, and
we learned how to golf together one day.
Yeah, although I forget about so much, over 10 years.
Yeah,
a decade's a long time.
It is, and it's been an incredible honor, I think, for me to be able to showcase, so many nonprofits, fundraisers, events, topics for discussion, some good, conversation starters, and really to get to share all of that with all of you at home. And so many people, have stopped me in the grocery store or, out grabbing, not coffee because I don't drink it, but like a hot chocolate, and said, oh, I just saw the show, or, oh, I really enjoyed that when you had so-and-so on.
A lot. Even out of province, when I've been in Moncton or St. John, for example, that I think I know you. How do I know you? Oh, yes, I know you from Rogers Have a Chat.
Yeah.
And then they go on to say how much they've learned, how much it means to them, that it's mostly light conversation, easy going, banter, and a lot of educational components.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm so much more knowledgeable by myself now.
Absolutely.
Knowledgeable.
Yeah.
After 10 years, we've gained a wealth of information about so many topics.
Yeah, because we, that was one of the things that we really tried to do. Our very first show was just the three of us chatting about who we were, and we never, I don't think I ever imagined it'd still be going on 10 years later. But let's talk about how we started.
Yeah.
So actually in I think it was 2011, you and I, so Audrey at that point was hosting a show called Dropline, and it was on Wednesday nights, and she was the only host at the time, and she would have guests to talk about what was going on kind of in the community, which was wonderful. And Judy and I were on the show one night to talk about the upcoming Dragon Boat Festival.
Right.
And it had never been done here in Miramichi, the Dragon Boat Festival part. We were Rotarians at the time. And we had such a great time that night. And the producer was Stacey Sarchfield.
Yes, love Stacey.
Yeah, she was awesome. And we we had a great show, and they had a call-in portion at that time, but nobody called in, but that was okay. They had a call-in portion at that time, and so we chatted about the fact that the Dragon Boat Festival was coming, and it was going to be a fundraiser. And at the end, we were all kind of sitting around chit-chatting.
Yeah.
And Stacey said, well, I'm looking to do some other shows. And Judy said, well, have you ever thought about doing a talk show?
Like just a light, fun talk show with community involved and bringing them on set and us three hosting it. And she said, well, that would take some work and going after, inquiries about is it doable, and I'll get back to you. And it wasn't right away that she got back to us, because they had to get approval and they had to go
took
through
3 years.
Was it 3 years?
3 years.
All that red tape to go through.
Yeah.
And then it started, and here we are.
And originally, the concept around that was that we were going to pre-tape 6 shows in a day.
Oh.
Yeah, and I remember, and we weren't quite sure, and we kind of batted the idea around, and then we thought, well, we'll try live TV, and in the middle of the afternoon, right? And we picked 1 o'clock on a Monday, and it was just I don't think we really knew how this was going to go. No, but I remember our first show was just the three of us chit-chatting, and then our second show the next week was Brenda Daigle came on to talk about the shoebox campaign for serving military service people overseas.
Still happening
for Christmas.
Still doing it.
And she was our first guest.
That's special, because she's one of my favorite. I have so many beautiful people in my life, but she's one of them.
Yeah. And I remember, and she came on to talk about it, but. But we decided to kind of keep plugging away, and we were, we kept going, and here we are 10 years later.
So congratulations to us.
I know.
I have to say it.
I know, it's wild, eh? It's wild. So how do you feel about ending a decade on Have a Chat?
I feel that I'm a better person for having done it. I have shared my thoughts on many different topics. Some of them have not been maybe what you were thinking or what our audience would agree to or what Audrey at the time was agreeing to. But I think that's what was so good about it, was that we were able to just candidly have discussions and our very own thoughts without being offensive, and the camaraderie and the friendship and the coming together as women to bond has been beautiful. To hear from the community that we have been loved as people, that we're able to bring all these fantastic guests on week after week, year after year, from children to seniors to for everything, talking about from bullying to mental health to sports accomplishments to everything. They just said, it's been very, very wonderful. So I'm feeling, I think it's time, like I said, I really have so much in my life going on that this has been one huge component of something I've loved doing. Like I'll never regret having done this.
Yeah.
I go out on a positive note, saying that it's touched me in an amazing way. I'm a people person. You and I are not camera shy, so it's been an opportunity to show that we do have words of advice, and that we do have feelings, and that we do have emotions, and that we do have great friendship and all of that. So I'm leaving thinking that I've so much ahead to do, that I've given all I've been able to do my best in the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
Accomplished. I feel good about it.
Good.
What about you?
I agree, and it's been some great milestones over the last 10 years. We've shared a lot. I've talked a lot about Mom's journey through Alzheimer's and what that has been like, and Dad being overseas and all that kind of stuff. And and really interesting, because a couple of years into the show, Rogers decided to put our show on YouTube.
I know, that's
which
huge.
was a first at the time. An entire episode on YouTube. So we got to share the Miramichi with the country, and really anybody that wanted to watch it, which was cool. And it was I heard from a lot of people that lived away that they got to see those parts of home that they missed.
I did too.
And that was really special for me, and it was an opportunity. I'm leaving proud.
Yes. Of
10 years of being able to showcase how amazing this community is and this province is. And that was the thing that we got to do every week, is we got to talk to people that were so invested in what they were doing, whether it be a fundraiser or an event or a nonprofit or a business. We got to showcase new businesses here, and so many of them are still in business, which is what I love. And so I'm leaving proud, and it at times was really tough, but I have to give a lot of credit to my employer. They allowed me to either take vacation time to do the show on Mondays, or I've worked longer shifts to be able to do the show on Mondays. Whatever it is, but they've been flexible, which has been great. It's a huge
commitment.
Which has been great. And it also is a lot of hours in our week.
Yes.
So we do, it's an hour here, but to schedule the guests and to come up with the topics and to kind of keep your eye out and things like that. So it will. I probably fill it with something else, but it will give me a little bit of extra time.
Absolutely.
To devote to whatever. So, but I am leaving very proud, because it's been an honor, but it's also been so neat to work with, the team at Rogers.
Yes.
We've had several producers over the years, and, Stacey Sarchfield was our first, and Matt Mayer was another one that, would jump in whenever we needed it. We also have Sean, who's been with us the longest. So Sean DeLong is our current producer. Sean DeLong is our current producer. We've had Jeff Daypray, and when we were during COVID was wild. For a lot of reasons for everybody, but during COVID we actually filmed from home.
Yeah, that was a hard one.
I found it tough.
Yeah, I don't like doing virtual.
No, I found it tougher than doing in studio, to be honest with you. And Tara King Stewart was our producer online.
Right, Tara.
But it took us longer. It took us almost 2 hours to film an episode because there was a lot of tech issues and not their fault. It just happens when you're using that much technology. And it was always on a Monday night, and I found it tough.
Yeah, Mondays are tough anyway.
I found it tough because it would take up, I was exhausted after, working for the day, and then to then be filming virtually.
Right.
And tech is great when it works, but really challenging when it doesn't. So I found the COVID filming's tougher.
I know. The only good thing about that was that we were able to have guests. I remember my friend living in Toronto, the author and performer, Frank Westcott. We were able to get him on from, I think he was in Vegas, and then he had just returned to Toronto, and he had just written these new pieces. And I thought, wow, this is fascinating that we can actually connect with him and have him view on Rogers when he's out of province. And just so other people that we would never be able to get in our studio were able to commute with us via computer.
Yeah, and I did, and that is the part that I did like about doing the virtual episodes, is that we could have anybody from, like, I think Jenny came on, your sister from Spain.
Yeah, and she's home, by the way. Welcome home, Jennifer. She's still here from Barcelona. I want to give her a shout out. And we could film in our underwear at home too. Which was awesome, because the table, like in our dining room, was here, so I could have pajamas on or like little leggings on and a beautiful blouse. And nobody would ever know.
No, it's the same here, though.
Now they know. It's a tell-all now.
Nobody knows what I sometimes come in sweatpants and a great top. Because you can't tell. But it's been a really interesting journey, and how we've evolved, over the years, and and even how comfortable we've gotten hosting and doing live TV, because there are no redos on live TV.
No, there's nothing. You say it, it's out.
Yeah.
And the other thing is to what we have, like, the places we've been over this last 10 years, for example, like you've traveled, I've traveled, what we've been involved in. We've had losses in our life. We've had weddings in our life. We've had nieces with births in their life. We've had so much excitement and so much hardship to share. And no matter what we were going through, we had to be on. So we could have had just a major loss or something like a catastrophe happen, and we still had to show up and kind of block and say, we're on for an hour, put it aside, do your job.
But I also want to say, having shared Mom's journey in particular over the last couple of years, the people who have reached out from that to say, thank you for talking about it, I'm going through the same or something similar, or just, to reach out to say, I'm thinking of you, it must be so tough, has been incredible. Yeah, and my Aunt Andrea is home visiting as well from out west.
Andrea so much. So there's been so many beautiful connections and relationships formed because we've been on here and sharing.
Yeah. So we have a couple of minutes left, but I know you have some more questions.
Well, I just wanted to, we're going to get into some of our favorite episodes, but what was one of the most exciting things for you having done the talk show? Like, as in exciting, what would you say?
Oh, exciting. Just some once in a lifetime experiences here. Like, we got to do some really cool stuff out in the community.
Food.
And the food.
We've had food.
Such great food.
People bringing it on set and enjoying dining experiences right in-house.
Yeah, and I think, I really loved as well having the chance, we did a International Women's Day show with women who were in politics, and I loved that show. We had, Joan Cripps was on, Councillor Tara Ross Robinson was on, Minister Jeanette Petitpot Taylor was on, and I love that idea. And we've had mayor and council on talking about what that's like,
and we've been in chambers talking to them. We've also been to City Hall where we did episodes. We went to Adam Lorden, Mayor Adam Lorden's house,
and did his Christmas cooking.
Christmas cookies. I mean, there's been some exciting, fun times.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed that stuff, and it's been exciting, and and sometimes we got to. I talked a bit about it earlier, but just, promote new businesses, and have an opportunity to share what's going on.
Now, they might be benefiting because of the fact that we had them on. Like, who would have known that business existed? We provided that information.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but what really struck me, and I guess what I'm most thankful, and it wasn't always exciting, but what I'm most thankful for is, organizations would often reach out to us, and say, can we come on to promote our fundraising event, or we're raising funds for XYZ, and they felt that it was a good opportunity for them, and I love that.
So much so, and just one other example would be Ground Search and Rescue. How extremely important is that organization in our community? And I want to just thank everyone who's been on here that have been volunteering their time or owning a business and putting everything into it, especially during the hard time of COVID when things were shut down and they lost out big time due to the pandemic. Like, that was a hardship. We were through that hardship as people that were hosting the show. We walked that walk with them and saw how badly they were hurting.
It was incredible and scary and all of those things. But we've had such an opportunity over the years, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite episodes
Okay.
after the break.
Sure.
But it's just been a really it's been a privilege
Yes.
to be able to join you every Monday afternoon and be welcomed into
Yeah.
your home.
Exactly.
That's been such an opportunity for us, and just really lucky.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
I know, yeah. So we're we just have 1 minute left before
Okay.
we go to break, but I always talk about going to grab a snack on break, right? Because that's what I do on the commercial breaks. If I can't fast forward through them on TV, I grab a little drink and a snack, and that's why I always say go do that, because it makes me feel good. So I'm wanting you to feel good at the same time.
And now that we are going to have these Monday afternoons, I'm definitely we'll talk more about it, but it's going to be some time to use that time for me.
Yeah.
That when we're getting ready in the morning or rushing out the door or whatever, I'm going to take things more slowly.
Sounds good. Don't go too far. We've got more show. We'll see you right after the break. Grab another snack. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, joined, of course, by my fantastic co-host, Judy Loge.
Ditto. We're here in sort of a bittersweet mood because it's our 10th anniversary, and we're ending our show on a high note. We're very excited for what we've done and for what's ahead for Veronique and I, a change in our lifestyle. But we have loved being with all of you, so we're going to continue on this last segment.
Yes, absolutely. And let's talk a bit about some of our favorite episodes.
Oh my, there have been so many. So, favorite. I'm going to go with favorite and impactful.
Okay.
Okay, the first one that comes to my mind, and don't ask me why it had such a huge impact on me, was the story of Joey Dignam and his wife, Courtney Urquhart.
Yes, yeah.
Because it was huge, their story. They were coming on to talk about having been a married couple, having been married for a number of years, having raised two beautiful little girls, or they were little girls that they were raising. I guess they're probably little, almost teenagers by
Yes.
now. But that they had lived in a marriage, and Joey came out to say on air that they were ending their marriage because basically due to a lot of things that were happening behind the scenes, one of them was religious and expectations that were on them, that they had great love for each other, but that because he was not in the mind of being married to a woman any longer and wanted to be free as a gay man, he wanted to be saying, I'm going to end that chapter as much as I love her and move on to who I really am, and that's a gay man. That they told that story, and they were so beautiful and honest and loving and best friends, and that love did not die. It died in the sense that they were no longer going to be a married couple, but it was going to continue on in the love story, as in the respect they had for one another, the mutual admiration, the raising the children that it was going to continue on, family nights, movie nights. It was just absolutely beautiful, in my opinion, that they were able to be so real and talk about it on air and go out with the public.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize how tough live TV can be, right? Because it's you can't, as I said earlier, you can't bleep it out, you can't start over, you can't, all of those things, and so it can be quite intimidating. And you think about it when you're home, and it's like, oh, no big deal, and then you get here in front, and the lights are the lights are bright, and you think, oh, I don't know that I can do this, and so that definitely a most impactful show for sure.
Another one was really recently, and that was Lacey Russell. We're just talking about her journey, which she was our last guest, if I'm not mistaken. Lacey's a phenomenal human being. It touched an awful lot of hearts. It's ironic that, towards the end of our 10 years that she would have such an impression on me and many people in our community and elsewhere, that she is a warrior in the field of breast cancer, that she's a mother of 3. She's been through an incredible journey of fight regarding her health, her chemo, her radiation, her hair loss, her nausea, her pain, all of it. And she talked straight from the heart with the most brave heart, I might add, and just shared her innermost feelings and emotions about being a person stricken with this god-awful disease and how it's affected her, but that she's forging forward, and that she went to the gala, the pink dress gala.
And she looked fantastic.
And she sent me a picture, and she said, this is what I'm going to be wearing to the pink dress gala. And she said, I feel like a princess. I said, look at you. You are a princess. And then she sent me one without her wig, and her hair was just starting to grow in as it had fallen out, as she talked about in her show. And she still looked beautiful and radiant. She's an incredible human being, and she's had an impact on my life that I don't even know if she knows that.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? I love that. I love that. And she looked fantastic the night of the gala.
Beautiful girl.
Yeah.
What about you? Just a couple that jump?
Yeah, there was a couple. So one of them actually was prior to when I started working for the federal government, we actually had the vice president of the PSAC union on.
Yes.
To talk about, at that time, so this is I started in 2017, so it's pre-2017. And at that time, there was so much negative media around, our wonderful people that were working at the Miramichi Pay Center at the time, and it was people were struggling across the country. There was no question, and the people here were working their guts out with a system that was challenging. And we had the vice president of the union on to talk about all of that. And I was really proud of that because it gave a bit of a voice to Miramichi at that time, but more particularly to the people that were working day in and day out to fix those challenges with the system and with the pay and all that. So really, that one really, I was proud. I was proud of that one. And the other one that I found really impactful, because a lot of people stopped me on the street after and said that it started conversations in their family, and that they were able to have those conversations, between grandparents and grandchildren and all that, mums and dads and all that, was Kaylin O'Kane.
Kaylin. Our dear friend
Kaylin, and his transition.
Huge,
his transition. Huge. And it was actually one of our most viewed episodes over those 10 years. And it was such an impactful story that he was willing to share. And, because, again, live TV.
I agree with you.
And just left such a strong feeling with me, because, as I said, people stopped me on the street to say, thank you for having him on as a guest, because I could now have that conversation with, with my family or whatever. So really, really pleased about that, and just so thankful that he was willing to share that publicly.
Oh yeah. So Kaylin, a shout out to Kaylin, who's still, being role modeled out there with many young people following. And I remember too doing a solo interview with a young man who had been a 3-time suicide survivor. Now you might say 3 times. How could he not have ended that? Well, the police intervened. At one point, a family member was there just to catch him as he was going, to leave this earth. That kind. Like, to hear him talk, and I've never really talked to anybody on that level. And he was so open, and I had so many questions to ask him honestly, and he shared them with me so much, and he opened up my eyes and so many others about how dark and how desperate people become, and why they become that, and what we should be more aware, and we should be watching for signs, whether it's in our own home with family or friends or neighbors or whatever. If you see something that's not quite right, reach out, even just to say, how are you doing? Or to say, I'm here if you need to talk, if you know that they're exhibiting some signs that aren't their normal selves.
Absolutely.
Right?
And mental health awareness and mental health advocacy has been a consistent theme for us throughout the 10 years, because it's, it's something that you and I really feel strongly about, and we've done work around that, and we were able to raise some funds in the spring, for the mental health and Miramichi Addictions and Suicide Mental Health. Miramichi Addictions and Suicide Prevention Mental Health Services Committee.
Right, big one.
Yeah.
Long one. Huge
Probably
one.
got that one wrong, but anyway, it was close. But yeah, because it's such, we all have mental health challenges. We all have those moments, and some, unfortunately, consistently, and they need that support. And you make such a good point in that, for those of us who may not be struggling in that moment, to reach out to those that we think maybe. Because it's important, and impactful, and it's something that they may not. We always say, "Oh, reach out if you're struggling," but they may not be able to.
And no, I know.
You
so
know?
you can even go to them with a
Yeah.
coffee or something and say, "Just thought I'd pop by today and see how things
Yeah.
are, just in case." It's
Yeah.
one of those days where they're having
Yeah.
very, very deep and dark thoughts. Could be
Absolutely.
life-saving, actually.
Absolutely, and we've had some really fun episodes. I loved our.
yeah.
I loved when Chef Brian Matheson was on, and he had so many treats for us, and they were so tasty.
Beautiful. I didn't want him to leave.
No, I know the cake.
Yes.
I'm still thinking about
So
the cake.
good.
But anyway, so we've had a lot of fun, and
We have.
You mentioned the episode that we did in Mayor Adam Lorden's home where we baked cookies.
I'm not a baker, but
you baked cookies with him that time, and we've had some really fun episodes as well.
The little girl that I met at the airport, we were stranded in New York at one time, my friend and I, and we had a layover, so we went to the lounge, met this little girl from North Carolina, and she was like a little movie star, so she was incredible. She was dancing and singing in the the airport lounge, and people were going, "Who is this child?" Well, I said her grandmother was in Dieppe, and I said, "Would you ever consider bringing her to the Miramichi to do a show?" So long story short, this little girl, Effie, comes on. She's a delightful little angel of a human and so gifted, and does commercials, does modeling where she's from in the States and all of that. She's like I said, a movie star. So didn't she have to pee? We were 5 minutes in, and I thought, oh no. She goes, "I have to pee." And I said, "No, you don't." "Yes, I do."
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You can hold it. "No, I can't." So she got under the table. We had to kind of let her unhook her mic. She had to scramble because her nerves, right?
Yeah.
Which, that was adorable, but which brings me to the point that one thing that has surprised me over all
Yes.
these years, Veronique, is that even though you and I are public speakers,
Yes.
it's always nerve-wracking doing a live show.
Yes.
It's like doing a drama performance because you don't know how it's going to go.
No.
You don't know what's going to happen with the guests.
No.
You don't know if there might be dead air, which that's shocking. There's never been.
And you're right, and it's funny because we always have those conversations with our guests right before. So whether we've reached out to them because we know them, personally, or we've reached out to them through an organization or whatever, we always have that conversation. We started sending them the questions beforehand a couple of years ago to make it easier on them,
Right.
And us. But it's always remarkable because, and Judy and I have said it often, don't worry, we've got you, and if you get stuck or whatever, we'll jump in, right?
Yes,
and we have, because
them.
because we've had a couple of guests. I had one that told me he was going to throw up as we went on the air, and so then I just I started asking him about why he was there and what he was really good at, and then we had another guest that was going to pass out. She told me that right as because I usually sat beside the guests. And she told me that right before we were
Really?
as the introduction was playing. So I'm like, oh, let's talk about this.
A lot of dead air if that happened, right?
But other than that, we really have been very fortunate. We've had people are nervous, and we understand that.
Like I said,
We
we're
understand
not
that.
really nervous, but you don't know when those lights come on what kind of a day you're having. Like you could have a migraine. And you're thinking, I have an hour to do this show, and my head is coming off of my shoulders.
Yeah.
But it surprises me always that no matter what I'm doing, whether it's a stage performance or a live TV show or you and I emceeing, that we don't have to run off set with either stomach pain or like a sick stomach or the need to pee, and it just doesn't happen. Isn't that wild?
Your body doesn't listen sometimes.
No, the body just goes through and you
Yeah.
get it done. That's why these anchors go on for 20 years on national television shows and anchor, because you don't see them saying, "Oh, excuse me, I've got to go to the bathroom urgently." It's crazy.
I had one coughing fit. Over the 10 years.
That's what I remember the most.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I had one coffee where I just could not, it would not stop.
No.
And
That's
then
hard.
And listen, and we've, Judy and I have said things we didn't intend to say.
Of course.
And I always tell the story, especially when people say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so nervous," and I'm like, there was the show that I was hosting, and I meant to say, "Hi, I'm your host, Veronique Arsenault." And my fabulous co-host, Judy Loge, but what I went with is, "Hi, I'm your host today, Veronique Arsenault, and I'm fabulous."
I know. The most modest moment in 10 years.
And I was just like, oh. And Judy burst right out laughing at the time.
Of course, I mean, we're human, right? We
Yeah.
are human, and I'm surprised when I've been I don't sleep, so when I come on here every morning or afternoon for an hour, I'm surprised I don't say, "Hi, I'm Ludi Josier."
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Get my name straight some days.
Exactly. And it's, and what I guess probably what surprises me the most is how fast time has gone.
I know.
You know?
What are you going to do? Like, so, okay, this frees up, like you said, some hours where sometimes I've had a guest on the line and I'll say, you know, it could be somebody with Brave Hearts. That was another incredible show
It was.
where members of our community who have lost a child came on and talked about losing their child. And oh my God, my heart was with them the whole time. And, and I've only cried once. And I've only cried once. And I'm a very emotional person. So that's an accomplishment in itself. It was when Mayor Cormier had passed away, and he was a very good friend of mine, and we were paying him honor. But then getting back to the Brave Hearts group, you know, that was very, very impactful. But I didn't cry because they require our strength.
Absolutely.
These people that are talking about breast cancer journey, it's like, how did you not cry? Because they need me where their shoulder, where their, we have to hold it together. It's like I'm doing a eulogy tomorrow from one of my dearest friends in the world. And if I get up there and say things and blubber and cry and make a fool of myself, what is the point of doing the service to that person if you can't be heard?
That's
if it's not even audible.
Yeah, and I've had those moments as well where I've where it's been a little bit tough to keep going in that discussion because it's so powerful.
Your mother, your story about your mother. What's more of a heart?
Well, and that show was the toughest, I'll be honest, because Mom had been admitted, I guess, or we had moved Mom into Loge Hall on the Sunday, and then we had the show on the Monday, and Judy and I talked about how hard that was for me on that Monday. And so that, because Mom is my best friend, that will never change, but, our relationship has changed over the last year or so.
That was big, and you did so well. Handled yourself you were so composed for something that's probably been one of the hardest things ever to talk about. Not to mention on air in front of strangers and other people that didn't really know your story and your moments.
And particularly that morning, because Mom hadn't known me for a few weeks before that. And that particular morning, because I think her system kicked into fight or flight, she knew who she was, where she was, and why she was there. We had never told Mom she had Alzheimer's, and she kept saying to me, I'll take the medication if you let me come home. I won't be a burden. So it was the toughest day. But we have about a minute and a half left.
Okay.
What's the most fun you ever had?
Well, I just want to say, I guess if I can change that question to what's ahead for me.
I
really just want to spend time. I've had the most fun being with you, by the way. Okay, you've been my bestie for 10 years, Veronica. I love you to pieces. You're amazing. You're an incredible human being. And I want to say, going forward, I really want to not just focus on me time, but I really want to focus on my family. My family and I are very, very tight. My parents are 10 years older than they were when I started the show, so they're elderly people. I want to be able to devote a lot of time to Percy's Place, which is, my heart is there in this hospice that we have in our community now. I want to sit with patients during their end journey, and I want to do a lot of volunteer work in that capacity and make things better for those people, staff, families, and everyone involved.
I don't know what's next for me. I'll be honest. I don't know. I'm still a city councilor, and I love that, and I have a wonderful job, so I don't know what's next. I do want to say, though, thank you to some of our co-hosts we've had over the years, Juliana, Lisa Mitchell, Sam, Adam, Michelle, and Rachel, and to all of you for tuning in, for being with us, and for letting us come into your homes every week for the last 10 years. We are forever grateful, and you have changed my life. And I hope that we've brought you a little bit of what's great about this province and community, and just about being together. So take care of each other. We are so incredibly thankful
Here's
for the
to
time.
new beginnings.
And we wish you all well. We thank Rogers for the time that we've had together, and all of our guests, our nearly 1,000 guests that shared their lives with us, but all of you as well. So take care.
God bless.
And we'll see you all soon.
Connect with us